Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Looks like this is a little blurry. How's that? Is that a little better? But anyway, good to see everybody. I didn't schedule anybody for this slot, so I saved a thing to do. So I got an email from somebody asking me, could you tell me what your rules for superheroes are? And I said, I'll do you one better. I'll make a video about it. So tonight I'm going to do two things because I don't think both topics would last a whole hour. But first off, let's talk about my comics. Fund My Comic has a Heroic Tales #1 still available. And this is an open invite. If you want to pop in, keep it on topic. You know, it's not gonna be a shill thing. We're talking about comics and rules for superheroes. So I thought I'd talk about the rules for superheroes and a back issue bonanza. Back issue bonanzas are what I call when I put in an order for back issues, and you know, to plug holes in my collection and things like that. So I'll start with that. So first off, how's anybody doing? Politics has been insane. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it, I don't want to talk about politics. It's just enough's enough. I played a board game last night to the wee hours with Darren Wagner, and we actually won. It was a cooperative game called Besieged, where monsters were attacking. It was a lot of fun. So anyway, I'm gonna flip this over. Let's just stall them for people. So first thing I got is Fantastic Worlds #2. Why is this a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because it's Marcus Kellegrew's comic. Marcus Kellegrew, you know, he's always with me on Friday nights for It's Clobbering Time. So I went to eBay and I found myself a copy. So I'm just going to try to turn off this brand. Oh, cool. I didn't know I could do stuff like that. So, hey, JP Fawn, how are you doing? How's everything? So I guess I'm stuck with this banner. I don't know how to change things. But anyway, so I went to eBay and I thought I would, oh, there we go. I'll pick up a copy. And here's the weird thing. It says, to Nanny, thanks for your support. Love, Marcus. So this is the actual copy that Marcus gave to his grandmother. How did it end up on eBay? And I get it. I mean, Marcus, if you're watching, do you want this back to give to your grandmother? You know, I'll give it to you. The guy who mailed it to me just stuffed it in an envelope. I got it all curled up and jammed into my mailbox. You know, don't you know when you're dealing with comic books, you gotta put them in a Gemini mailer. So this is pretty cool. I just ordered issue 1 because I can't read this until I read issue 1, but because I'm a crazy person. So there you go. Hey, Tank Ferret, how you doing? How's everybody? So this is Rome Eternal. #2, I think, just came out. I bought it. Oscar Carreno, who's the colorist on Heroic Tales, one of the 2 colorists, and he's the artist and colorist for my other comic, Eddie is Doomed. He's the colorist for this comic. So I bought it. Hey, Oscar. So I bought a copy. I read it and I put it in a stack of comics and I cannot find it. It happens once in a while. Now, you know it's going to happen because now that I'm off work, and last night I stayed up till 4 a.m. I'm going to be up all night. So I'm going to be looking for, and I'll find it. So I bought another copy. And this is what I'm going to do for Sunday Comics this week. So there we go. So that's Rome Eternal. Issue 2 is out. I read issue 1. I did not read issue 2 yet. I just love the designs. I love the art, love the colors. So, you know, that'll be something. We'll talk about that on Sunday. Okay. This is The Fly #3. And it doesn't say the #3 on it at all. That's just one of my pet peeves when comics aren't numbered. I, The Fly, do solemnly swear that nothing shall keep me from fulfilling my sacred vow to erase crime from the face of the earth. It's a bizarre comic. It's a interesting comic. I'm kind of obsessed with the Crusaders. The Crusaders being the Archie, Dark Circle, Red Circle characters. And every once in a while, they seem to get licensed out by other companies, and they never really, like, every time you see them, it's their first appearance. Like, they're constantly getting rebooted, and they're a DC licensed them out. I don't think Marvel ever licensed them out, but I like these characters, and I really wish that they would have like a good, strong run, But they started in the fly, so I have to get things from the beginning. I have to read things from the beginning. So I put in about one back issue order a month. So, these are kind of expensive. So I get one every time I put in an order. I put in one. This is the Double Life of Private Strong, special in this issue 1, but then it also says issue 2. So I don't know what's going on with this comic. I don't know if this is issue 1 or issue 2. I don't know. So this is like the first appearance of a Private Strong who becomes the Shield. Look at this old Jack Kirby. This is like primitive Jack Kirby art right over here, but that is just so cool. There's only 2 issues in the series, so I don't know what's going on. This is Dawn. Oh, comments. It happens. I got 2 copies of the trade of New Frontier Kingdom. It happens even. Yeah. Most notably, I can't find my Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos #1. I didn't even read it yet, and it's just lost in the. Yep, Nanny doesn't have bags and boards. I agree, Nanny. Don't you know you got, what are you, a barbarian, Nana? Come on, Nana. So this is Dawn and Vampirella. This is written and drawn by Joseph Michael Linsner. I picked up issue 1 on a whim rather, and it was pretty good. This is not Steranko art. This is Linsner. If you're talking about this is Jack Kirby. But and this is also Kirby and somebody else. Somebody else. But what I like about this is Dawn and Vampirella are trapped in like a hell by some devil, and the devil is going to make one the bride, and he's going to kill the other one. So they just have to tell stories. So it's like short stories. Somebody asked me what RJ from the 4th Age asked me, what powers does Dawn have? I said, I don't know. She didn't do anything. They're just telling stories. And I don't particularly like the character of Vampirella. She's a vampire from the planet Draculon. I just don't care. But this I don't know. I think somebody gave me, every once in a while, people like, well, give me bags of comics. Yeah, take these. I don't want these, because I don't think I would have bought the issue #1 on my own. So there you go. That's but now I'm done with that series. It's only 5 issues, and it wasn't that bad. Oh, the Lost Fury. It's a Jack Kirby. It's a Jack Kirby. It's Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. The first appearance of Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos. So this is Batwoman. I think, yeah, this is the second series. This, I know. Oh, she's lesbian. Blah 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 blah. But it's so good. It is so good. I really like this series. It started out detective. They just gave detective to Batwoman, and the art, the coloring, everything about it was so good. And it's like Batman's cousin or something like that. And she becomes a Batman. She becomes Batwoman, and then she starts dating Maggie Sawyer. It's a really good comic with real interesting bad guys. So I'm slowly getting the last couple of issues. Looks like this is new art team. So this might be, who knows. But this is the DC New 52, I think. Or I don't know. This is, yes, it says the New 52 right here. So there you go. Okay, this is the original team. This J.H. Williams, Hayden Blackman, Trevor McCarthy's new. But Blackman and Williams, just the art is so good. So good. And like I said, real interesting bad guys. So yeah, this is a completely different team. Yeah, Mark and Draco, Trevor McCarthy, Andrea Moody. Yeah, so this I think this is the last issue. I think this is the last issue. This looks like a completely different team. Yeah, so I bet you this issue is not too good. Okay. Red Coat, Jeff Johns, Brian Hitch, Andrew Curry, Brad Anderson, Rob Lay. I just realized, doesn't he look like the guy from The Office? You know, they seem like they do that a lot in comics. Like they just draw the character to look like the actor that they wish he would play. You know, I first noticed that with Mark Miller. He drew the main character in Wanted to look like Eminem. So I got 1, 2, and 3. I'm missing 4, and then I think I got the rest, so I could finally catch up. You know, what was it, up to 7 or 8? I forget. So back issue. This is Reed Fleming, The World's Toughest Mailman, a comic that I've always been interested in. I got to pick up that comic that fell. It's driving me nuts. You guys are seeing all my little strange behaviors. I couldn't just let it lay on the floor. Okay, now. So I joke, but it's no joke. Every time I listen to Ask Chuck Dixon, I call it the $20 show. It cost me $20. I buy something. Although this wasn't that expensive. This was only a couple of bucks, but he was just talking about how much he loved this comic. And I was like, you know what? I think it was like $3 or $4. So I was like, all right, I'll get Reed Fleming, The World's Toughest Mailman. Why not? Why not? Thanks, Chuck. This is Big Bang Comics. I think it was a 5-issue limited series, and then it became like a long run series. And the conceit is these are a mix of new characters and a mix of public domain characters, but it's supposed to be like Golden Age, Silver Age. I didn't like it at first. I did not like it at first, but I grew to like it. Like my taste is changing as I get older. Like I want more like whimsical, charming stuff. You know, I you know, as a kid, I wanted, you know, just cosmic explosions and laser beams. And then in, you know, my early teens, I was edgy, pretentious, you know, all the Vertigo stuff. And, you know, and then after that, I think I just wanted like straightforward, but more realistic superheroes. And now it's like whimsical Silver Age goofiness is I don't know. I guess as you get older, you know, I had enough of realistic. So I'm up to issue 12. You know, these are all like, you know, so this is supposed to be like a Justice Society group. And then suddenly the Savage Dragon, the continuity doesn't matter. The continuity doesn't matter in this comic, you know. Let me grab another batch. Yeah, Jim Krasinski. Yeah, that's the guy's name. Yeah, the one who's married to what's her name? That beautiful woman. I think she's so pretty. His wife. Hey, James. The original Jim Lee is here. I got hit. I'm holding up to the wrong camera. I just bought his book, The Steins. You know, it's not that big, so I'm a notoriously slow reader, so I should be able to read that this year. When it comes to prose, like, look at this. I'm like this close to finishing this. I've been reading it for like 2 months, but I don't know. I'm just so slow. And I read a chapter, then I read a comic book, then I read another comic, and I read another comic, then I read another chapter. I'm always reading like 6 things. Like, and I have a book for the commute, you know, and I have a book for the way to work. I have a book for the way home, and I have to read the correct book at the correct time. What's up with Dixon using AI? So from the story that I heard, and again, I'm you know, I heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody, that Chuck was hired. You know, you pay him, Chuck will write your story. You know, that's what he does. He's a comic book writer. He'll write comic books for you. So you meet his price, and he'll pay you know, you meet his page rate, he'll write you a story. So he got hired writing a story, and then after he handed in a script, he found out that it was going to be AI stuff. So he doesn't own it. It's work for hire. That's the story that I heard. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Chuck also recommended this, The Prowler by Timothy Truman and John K. Snyder. I'm finishing up Scout, which is Timothy Truman's other book. So when I finish Scout, I'll put this underneath Scout and I'll read it. But this is only 3 issues. Where is it? Did they get mixed up, or is it only 2 issues? I thought it was 3. Maybe it's mixed up. Okay. Geiger. So we got some Geigers to plug up the hole. Yes, this is my Thor glass. This is Geiger. Again, I'm missing some issues, so I bought a couple of issues to plug up the holes. I'm really enjoying this. Jeff Jones is just, he hired like everybody he used to work with for Ghost Machine, except for one guy. One guy who's the greatest artist. I don't know why Jeff Jones didn't work. One guy, I can't think of his name. He used to make comics. Does he still make comics? But there's one guy that Jeff Jones used to work with. Oh God, can't remember his name, but he used to make comics, and I guess Jeff didn't want to work with him. I don't know why. But anyway, this is Gary Frank. Jeez, I just love Gary Frank. This is Geiger. What a great name for a superhero. Okay, then we got Brit. Number 7. This is part of the Invincible world. I really, really, really liked Brit until I didn't like Brit anymore. But I'm a completionist. But this writer, I forget who's the writer, whatever. But Kirkman, when he wrote Brit, it was outstanding. And this new writer, it's very confusing, and it doesn't seem to be. It's not even like the same character. Like there's like a loss of continuity within the character. His personality just changed. So I'm getting it to finish the series because I'm like that. Jonah Hex. Oscar is asking, Gary Frank is awesome. Yes, he is. I love Gary Frank's artwork. I think I discovered him with where did I discover Gary Frank? It wasn't Preacher. That was Steve Dillon. I forget. Punisher? I think he did Punisher. I forget. But Jonah Hex, man, I avoided these comics like you wouldn't believe when I was a kid. There's no way you would get me to read a Western comic as a kid. War comics, Western comics. I would read a science fiction comic if there was nothing else, but no way. Western was probably the bottom of the line. And now I'm kind of glad I didn't read them as a kid, because now I'm getting to experience them for the first time. Rich Buckler, Gayacola, I always forget. You can't even see, but this is one of Jack Kirby's inkers. So I collect. Again, every time I put it. Oh, I need this comic. And then there's like a couple other comics that I collect slowly. I hate that little stamp over here. But look at this Yellow Sky. Oh, Garcia Lopez. Garcia Lopez does the cover. So this is number 17. These are so good. So good. Look at that. Amazon Treasure, Amazon Death. Garcia Lopez. Look at this girl. Nice. And this is the Marquis. Dance Macabre by Gary Davis. Gary Davis, I just fell in love with Gary Davis's work. Sandman Mystery Theater. Matt Wagner wrote it and Gary Frank drew it. And then he went on to do the BPRD. He's just like a scratchy, old school style that I just love. So good. And Brian Bow said, that reminds we were talking about characters like a bad guy for Heroic Tales. He goes, oh, that's dangerously close to the Marquis. But so I had to get this. Oh, Magnolia cover. Oh, that's a cool cover. I don't even look at the covers. I just when I order stuff, I just order stuff. I'm like, okay, I want it. The cover's not gonna make me get it or not get it. Okay, so we're winding down on the back issue Bonanza, and then we'll just talk about my rules for superheroes. And again, if you want to pop in, here's the invite so we can talk. Hey, Duck Bacon, how you doing? How's it going, Duck? How's it going? Hey, Marcus, I'm watching in the past. Did you see I opened it up with your comic? Love the Nevermen from the Nevermen. What is that? I never heard of that. I know there was Nowhere Man, but there's Nevermen. Again, here's the invite if anybody wants to pop in. JLGL is possibly the best natural designer in comic. Who's JLGL? Green Lantern is possibly the best at design in comics history. Who are you talking about? Oh, Garcia Lopez. Duh. Yeah, he's so good. He's so good. So this is a War of the Realms, Agents of Atlas. No, my grandmother's passed. You could keep the comic. Life is how did I get your grandmother's copy? Did you know how did it get on eBay? Did I buy it from a relative of yours? Because I gave him a bad review for just sticking it in an envelope, and it came all beat up and just jammed in my mailbox. Barbarian didn't even put it in a Gemini mailer. Jose, yes. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Yes. So I just reread all my Agents of Atlas comics, all the original, up until this series, because I didn't read this series yet, were excellent. Absolutely excellent. And the premise was there was all the Atlas heroes from Marvel Comics. If you remember, Marvel Comics was called Atlas in the 50s. So you had Venus, you had everybody but 3D Man, I just realized, but you had Gorilla Man, Marvel Boy. Why can't I think of the rest of the team? The Human Robot, and then led by Jimmy Woo. And then I quit Marvel Comics, and I'm like a bad person. I keep going back. So I picked up this, and apparently this is when it becomes the Asian Segregation Squad. So Jimmy Woo recruits all the Asian superheroes, and all the Asian superheroes get segregated. So I here's 2 and here's 3 and 4. Now I could read 1 and 2. So there we go. All the Asian superheroes. So it completely changes the premise of the comic that was supposed to be the original pre-Marvel superheroes, and now they're all the Asian superheroes, because identity politics is the greatest thing in the world. Okay, so now here is the James Robinson run on the Fantastic Four, with James Kirk art. The art is so good. James Robinson wrote one of my favorite series, Starman. Also, keep in mind that came out during the height of my pretentious phase during the 90s. You know what I mean? So I got to reread it to see if it still holds up. Jack Knight was a hipster who ran like an antiques shop. It was just so pretentious, and I freaking loved it. But James Robinson wrote some horrible comics after that. He wrote this Airboy series that was just like unbearable. But this isn't bad so far. He's being respectful for Fantastic Four. I quit. So this is my first time reading these. So I've now read every Fantastic Four comic up to number 5. Now I got 6 and 7. And man, I'm missing 8. Okay. So I got 6, 7. I'm missing 8. So I got to put these in different piles so I don't accidentally read these. So I'm 9, 10. Oh, the Wizard. These are all the kids from the Future Foundation. And the DMZ. I get like 1 or 2. So this is 10. So I have 1 to 10 now. This series is just, the premise is just paper thin. It's rednecks started a revolution, a civil war in America, and like they basically took over, and for some strange reason Manhattan is the demil. It makes no freaking sense. on any scrutiny, this premise just falls apart. But Brian Wood is a good writer with good characters. So like every time something comes, I'm like, eh. He wrote a comic called Northlanders that was all Vikings, and that was freaking awesome. Uh, he has another comic called Rebels, which is like set in the Civil War. So so number 10. I think this goes up to 50. How does this weak ass premise make it to 50 issues? I will never know. Okay, so that's everything from back issue Bonanza. So I'm reaching around to see if there's any superhero comics that I could talk about. Okay. All right. So now Supergirl. Uh uh I will Google a picture of Batman, and we'll discuss Batman. Okay. Every time I try to move this, it I don't want. I'm trying not to. Bump into my camera. Okay, so anybody want to come in and talk? Are the kids from the future, or is that the founder? It's the Future Foundation, so it's like Kids of the Future. So the Fantastic Four. There was a spin-off of the Fantastic Four, just called FF, and at one point before they canceled the Fantastic Four and everything like that, it was the Fantastic Four was popular enough to have 2 monthly titles. Actually 3. There was Fantastic Four Unlimited, but that was during the 90s, and then so somewhere around 2005 or so, they had a spin-off series called FF, and then it started out, it was like a replacement Fantastic Four, and it had like it was drawn by Mark Allred, who I absolutely love, and it had like a Ant-Man, She-Hulk, a girl who wore the Thing suit. And why can't I? Who was the 4th member? I can't even remember who the 4th member was. And they were the replacement Fantastic Four, while the Fantastic Four would doing other things. And then it spun off to like a foundation. So they form a foundation, and they're taking like all gifted kids from all over the world. So they got like 2 fish kids from Atlantis. I might as well get the comic while I'm talking about it. A couple of Inhumans. A couple of here we go. So a fish kid, a couple of Inhumans, a Moloid who's super intelligent, Artie and Leech from the X-Men. I think they're right there. I think like a Scroll kid. Oh, there's the this kid is like, and then one of their bodyguard is Andy, the awesome android, and then of course Franklin and Valeria, Reed's and Sue's kids, and they go off and they do adventures and they learn stuff. Like a little there's a girl from Wakanda over here. I forget who this kid. Oh, I think that's a Christoph, Dr. Doom's kid, and one of the kids from Power Pack. So it's like, I liked it. It was like little kid solving crimes kind of thing. I enjoyed it. So have I discussed the Fantastic Four trailer already? Yeah, I watched it. It's a lot better than I've learned to tamper my expectations. My expectations are real low with Marvel. First off, full disclosure, I told my wife that the Thor movie was going to suck. I was like, there's no way this Thor movie is going to be any good. And I loved the first Thor movie. Then the Doctor Strange, I was like, there's no way this Doctor Strange movie is going to be good. And I loved the Doctor Strange movie. And the Ant-Man movie, there's no way this. So I'm always wrong. And I want to be wrong. But I love the retro futurism of the Fantastic Four movie. But I think every actor is miscast. That's not Reed Richards. That's not Sue Storm. That's not Ben Grimm. I mean, Ben Grimm, we only need a human for 20 minutes, or 10 minutes, and then it's CGI. But he has the wrong voice. He sounds like Seth Rogen. He needs a gravelly voice, and he doesn't have a Brooklyn accent. And that Human Torch guy, he's too effeminate looking. to be the Human Torch, you need like a young Matthew McConaughey, or like Johnny. Keep in mind when I started reading the Fantastic Four, it was drawn by George Perez. Johnny Storm was a big, muscular guy, into cars and everything like that. He was a race car tough guy. He wasn't just some cringy Twinkie guy. But it looks good. I do like Herbie, but I just can't get past the casting. The casting just looks so bad, and I don't like that it's an alternate universe. And it's going to be the female Silver Surfer, whatever. And I just think it's going to be Galactus destroys that planet, the Fantastic Four escape, and come to our Earth, and then save us from our Galactus with a male Silver Surfer. That's what I'm calling. It looked like the Red Ghost was in it. Yeah, Spider-Man was part of the Future Foundation too. Like anybody that had anything to do with the Fantastic Four. Go Team Zimzer. Yeah, that's the two kids, right? That's what they call themselves. It was fun. So let's see. Okay, here we got an image. So I want to talk about my rule. Somebody asked me about my rules for superheroes. So I think I'll talk about that. Okay. Hey, Hojo, how you doing? So here is Batman. Oh, I could stop the extra camera. That will just make it easy. So I don't have to worry about knocking into the tripod. So that's cool. All right. So my rules for superheroes. I forget who it was who emailed me, but I said, he's like, could you tell me your rules for superheroes? So I said, you know what? I'll do you one better. I'll make a video. So I got a half hour. All right. So these are my rules for superheroes. First and foremost, you need a good name. You don't have a good name, you don't have a superhero. And for superhero names, there's two types of names. There's the descriptive name, like Batman. You know what I mean? Like when you say Batman, it tells you everything you need to know about the character. So that is like the descriptive name of a superhero. Like it's also the focus of the character. So and I'm getting another example now. Okay, so everybody understand what I mean by this is the descriptive example. Why can't? Okay, whatever. It telling me this image cannot be brought up. Okay, so let me get selected another image. That was the image I wanted to do. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. All right, so I'm sorry about that. All right, so the name superhero, the name Batman focuses Batman. Everything about the character design, powers, and everything has to complement this name. From the name, everything else comes down. So Batman. What are his powers? Well, he doesn't have powers. He's a peak human, but his costume is dark. His wings have his cape has the bat shapes. Whatever the crescents in him. He has dark colors, dark blue, gray. He's mysterious. Everything about it works with the name. So again, the name Batman. Everything falls from that. And then the symbol. It's a bat. It's a freaking bat. It is awesome. You need to have a first and second name with the same. That's Stan Lee. Bruce Wayne, but Peter Parker, Stan Lee liked the alliterations. You don't need alliterations. But so you got the name, and from the name, all of his powers have to somehow work with the name. The Human Torch. When I say the Human Torch, he's not super fast. He's not he's not a powerhouse as far as throwing punches. He's fire. Everything about it has to work. To me, like that is just like I can't believe I have to explain that to some people. But some people make a superhero, and like what does that have to do with his powers? like if okay, so if I was to, well, let's design a character. Let's design a character together. That's probably a good thing. So, guys in the chat, I'm going to throw out the name Blockade. Okay, I don't know if anybody has a character named Blockade, but whatever, it just popped into my head. So we're going to make a character named Blockade. First off, what powers does Blockade have? Is he a good guy? What costume does he have? It all has to come from the name Blockade. All right. Blockade. Blockade. What does a blockade do? It stops movement, right? It also kind of protects, or it could be used as a siege. So the name Blockade could be a good guy's name or it could be a bad guy's name. Because now that I think about it, I could put up a blockade to keep the zombies from attacking or to keep any army from getting to me, or I could put up a blockade around a port so that those people starve. Okay, so all right. Hey Don, how you doing? You want to come in? We'll come in and talk about this. Okay. They forget that one of Batman's powers is fear. Yes, he intimidates like a bat. People are scared of bats. Darkness, mystery, night, terror. It all works together with Batman. So with Blockade, okay, so we're gonna jam right here. So okay, Blockade. He's immovable. Okay, I like that. He can increase his mass or density. That kind of works. He's a blob juggernaut type. Military. Make him a huge fat dude. And here's anybody. These are all great. These are all great. So I wouldn't have a fat guy. It's a comic book. So I would have like a juggernaut guy, just a big guy, broad shoulders, maybe even a helmet. So like, and I would have like a symbol on his chest because I'm a sucker for a symbol. What kind of symbol would he have? What kind? I do think a superhero needs a symbol. And in Heroic Tales, I'm going to talk about that the symbol is like a focus, that's why make Blockade a woman. No, I Blockade it wouldn't be a woman. I don't want a big woman. It just, unless she was a villain. Villains can be big and ugly. Or make it like a multiple man, but they all there you go. That's interesting thinking. That's interesting. A rock-like guy. So I was thinking like a big, and again, this I'm not making the rules, you know what I mean? But this is what I would do. So we got the name Blockade. Now, do we want him to be a good guy or a bad guy? Is he a defensive blockade where he's protecting people, or is he an offensive blockade where he's, like up, where we're going to whatever and all our ships are around them and we're slowly starving them out. I kind of like a patriotic. Oh, Don wants a bad guy. Don wants a bad guy because that'll change his powers if you ask me. Okay, so we got Blockade. He's a bad guy. Broad shoulders. He is immovable. He's invulnerable. I do like the idea that he could change his mass. So he could he get bigger? So I would say that he could increase his size and mass, and but he has to be slow, right? A blockade sits there. A blockade doesn't. It's not a blitz. So I would say that he's slow. He's big. He can increase his mass. The bigger he gets, maybe the slower he gets, which is kind of, I think, intuitive. I would have a symbol on his chest of almost like a brick pattern, like a brick pattern. Maybe his shirt would look brick. Yeah. He starts out, he's a normal guy, but the more he uses his mass power, and I would have it that he literally draws mass from the earth. Yeah, he roots down like a tree. There you go. A hired gun mercenary as a conscious maybe starts a bit. Okay, these are good story arcs. A redemption arc. I love a good redemption arc, but he has to be like ex-military with that name Blockade. Ex-military. And see, you guys are getting it. What colors would his costume be? If your name is Blockade, what colors would your costume be? I'm thinking like earth tones, right? Like brown, maybe military green, gray. You know, he's definitely not red. He's not yellow. He's not purple. A logo could be like a circle with a slash through it. Oh God, you just made me think. Hot pink. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I just saw an image in my head for a split second, but not enough to remember it. But there is a traffic symbol that like you can't go here. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. But anyway, but you get it. So now, what would be the absolute wrong power for blockade? Intangibility, right? That would be the absolute wrong power, like blockade, intangibility, right? It just makes sense. So okay, so let's get back to Batman. So Batman, his name is Batman, Terror of the Night. He's a detective. Why? Because crimes are at night. He's out at night. Bats are out at night. He's got that. The only thing I don't like about Batman, I don't like the yellow symbol on his chest. I've grown to like it because it's been like that since I was a kid. But I do like the black, the black bat. It's just a perfect emblem, And then the black. I love the black underpants on him, and then the other type of he's not much of a detective these days. You're absolutely right. But that's a whole nother thing. So the other type of superhero name is the non-descriptive name. It's just a cool sounding name, like Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic. If you call yourself Mr. Fantastic, you can have any power. Captain Amazing. Even the Crusader has a package if you call yourself the Crusader. But like there's nothing about Mr. Fantastic that says stretching. And I will go on. I will think that when in 1962, when they created Mr. Fantastic, the word fantastic, I think had a little bit more strange and bizarre connotations. And I do think it's because of the Fantastic Four that it became like fantastic, amazing, positive. But I think like Stan and Jack, I wasn't alive in 1962. And by the time I could remember, the Fantastic Four became like, I think they were supposed to be like a creepy, mysterious, like a Doom Patrol, odd, uncomfortable foursome, and then later on they became fantastic. This is fantastic, so fantastic was more like mystery. So I like Ben's nickname, Stretcho. Yes, this is a burn drawing. That's a burn drawing. So I think there's like two types of superhero names: the descriptive name, and then the non-descriptive name. You got more play with a non-descriptive name. Mr. Fantastic. If I wanted to, I could create Mr. Wonderful, right? Okay, let's create Mr. Wonderful. What is Mr. Wonderful's powers? I think we all got the blockade down correctly, but what does Mr. Wonderful do? What? All right, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to temper or ruin your guys. But again, I always say there's a pyramid. It starts from the name, and everything falls from the pyramid. There's the name, the powers, the costume, and then in the middle is the symbol. That is how I design a superhero. So I'll just be like, they couldn't name him Plastic Man. When I'm reading or I'm watching TV, or I'll hear a word, and I'm like, that's an interesting word. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this, and so we're doing Mr. Wonderful. So Mr. Wonderful has charm powers like the Purple Man, super charisma, and his symbol is a smiley face made of blood. So I'm guessing Mr. Wonderful is a villain then, right? Mr. Wonderful. I was thinking Mr. Wonderful would be a cheesy good guy, but Mr. Wonderful. Okay, so you want him to be like I'm going to a dark place with what you guys just described. So he's got to be a handsome man because he's Mr. Wonderful. All villains all the time. Okay. I don't know who the wrestler is, but I'm picturing a good-looking serial killer. You know, he's just charming and he's lures women to their death. You know what I mean? He's just like almost like a vampire. Thanks a lot, Don. You made me think of a bad guy. Originally, I was thinking of a goofy superhero with the name of Mr. Wonderful. But you see, but the name, these non-descriptive names, well, Mr. Wonderful's kind of descriptive. But that's one of the things that I do when I'm coming up with a superhero design is you say the name, and then DM sounds interesting, John. But Mr. Wonderful bad guy, Mr. Wonderful bad guy. Okay, so Mr. Wonderful's ugly hair. Where's a mask he made from the actual? Oh God, Don, you need to go outside more. So here is a superhero that I'm actually in the midst of designing. Okay, so I will look up the word and the etymology. This is one of the things that I like to do. I look up the etymology of words. Okay, so this source is a wonderful resource for me. Okay, this thesaurus. Okay, and so I'm going to thesaurus and I'm typing in a word. Okay. Okay, so why isn't this getting big? Okay, if I share this, will it work? Okay, mascot. So I'm thinking of a superhero called the Mascot. And it says a person or thing that is supposed to bring good luck that is used to symbolize a event or organization. In the late 19th century, from the French mascotte, the modern provenance of mascotto, feminine diminutive of masco, a witch. Okay, so the word mascot literally translates from the ancient French of witch. And then what do? We have mascots, the animals and things like that. So I was thinking, okay, villain, mascot, he's a villain. And what does he do? He got to have like a French surname, even though he's going to be an American. So like, you know, Jean-Paul Valet or something like that. And that I was going to have him wear like I keep making him like Animal Man, but that's what he's going to do. He's going to be able to just use animal powers. So like, you know, he's like borrows. So like when he gets tigers, his eyes will turn tiger. He'll get teeth, claws, you know, just transform into like a almost like a were-type. When he wants to be like a rhino, he'll grow the horn and get big and massive. So his powers will change based on what animal he's copying. So that's what a mascot does. If you look up the etymology, it's actually a witch. There's a big long story that these witches would call a mascot, and the mascot would be an animal, and they would get the power from the animal to enhance. Same as a familiar, like a mascot is a more powerful familiar. So I was thinking of that. So what would his costume? So because of this witchcraft and black magic, he's evil. He's got these animal powers. Could be a woman, but the etymology said mascotte, a male witch. That may be that, but it could be an animal type woman, and it would be basically evil animal man. So there you go. That's how I would think of it. Now, what would you guys do? I'm not saying I'm right, and that's the only way to do it. What would you guys do? A mascot is a pet in Spanish, so there you go. It's an animal. Mastich, is that a word? I usually come up with the name first and work from that. Yes, that's what you do. That's how I do it. For a superhero, I come up with the name first. Makes wonderful things happen to bits. Oh, so we're going with Mr. Wonderful, affects mood, health, and even immaterial objects for their betterment. Okay. Wear caught. He accidentally gets killed trying to help a hero he admires, gets arrested, becomes and dresses like the same hero but more evil. Ah, Don, you gotta get outside. Oh, we talk about Mr. Wonderful. I was thinking of Mr. Wonderful. This was my concept for Mr. Wonderful. He's overly flashy, ridiculous, almost like cartoony good. Like he big cape guy, bright colors, smiles, and he has like all of Superman's powers. He's cheery, he's strong, he could fly. He doesn't have lasers or anything like that, because to me that's like dangerous. Mr. Wonderful wouldn't be dangerous, but like he can fly, he's invulnerable. But if he's not, like, he has to do the right thing. Like, to me, Mr. Wonderful is like, it's almost like he's compelled, like he's walking down the street and the fire trucks go by and he's just like, I gotta help, but I gotta go to work. And if he like, it's almost like he's like, I gotta help. It would almost be like and then he's like, hey, how you doing? And you find out that like he's the happy, cheeriest guy in the world, helping everybody, but he's just miserable in his regular life because he has no, he almost like he has no free will. That's what I was going with. I think the word mascot sets too much levity. Yes, right. That's why I love etymology. Which one is insects? Entomology is insects, and etymology is words. Those are big resources. I always look up a word. When I find an interesting word, I look it up, and that helps me. Yes, overly positive. If he doubts himself, his powers diminish. Make him a midget with a chip on his tiny shoulders. Maybe one who could charm people to obey as his pets. There you go. Originally, I was going to put the mascot in Eddie is Doomed, and he was going to be just like a cartoon animal, like, I'm the mascot. And he was just going to be just like some, like anthropomorphic animal, and he just couldn't be killed because he was a cartoon, like, if he jumps on a bomb, his face just turns black in the smoke, and then he shakes and he's back to normal again. Or like you cut him in half and he just like sticks himself together. But I like the dichotomy of you, Mr. Wonderful. Thank you. So I don't know if I'm helping. I don't know if that. I wish I could remember who emailed me. But the rules of the superhero, for me, again, the name has to be the focus. Without the name, if you don't have a good name, the character lacks focus. Now, again, an example of a character who, to me, doesn't. To me, I will never like this character because he just does. Okay, see, this just shows you when you Google his name, he doesn't show up properly because it's not a good name. And if you watch me, you know who I'm about to. You might. Okay, so this character, Cable. Okay, his name is Cable. What does that tell you about the character? Can anybody explain to me why this guy's name is Cable? Because it's not even his name, right? What is it, Matt? Yeah, it is his name, Matt Cable, right? Is that his name? Hey, Duck Bacon, I knew it. Careful, John. The cartoony mascot might break. Yes, and that would be acceptable to a cartoon character. Cable guy, you know what I mean? So what is it? So his name is Cable. That's his superhero name. What does he do? Well, he's from the future. He's got a bionic arm. He's got a glowing eye, and look at this gun. This is something a child made up. This is something Rob Liefeld made up when he was 12 years old. He drew it. Everybody thought he was cool, and that's it. Yeah, he's a link to the past, present, future. How? He doesn't have time travel powers. His name is Cable. It's just a terrible, terrible name. And I know Duck Bacon loves it. How about Gunsel? Gunsel is a good name for like a a character that's a henchman. Gunsel. He's like the second banana to Mr. Wonderful or the Blockade. Blockade would not be a master. Blockade would be like the Red Skull, and then one of his minor bad guys would be Blockade, and then Gunsel would be like a third stringer. You can't apply logic or reason to a Liefeld character. And again, Duck Bacon, I know you love Cable, and I don't want to hurt your feelings or anything like that, but it just it doesn't make it just doesn't make sense. Colossus, what a great name, Colossus. What is a Colossus? Well, the famous Colossus is the Colossus of Rhodes, and it was a big metal statue. It was copper and brass, so X-Men Colossus is the wrong color, but that's fine. But the Colosseum literally means big place. Colosso means huge. So he's this huge metal guy. You can't get a better name than that. Cyclops is a little weird. It's only because he has the goggles, but Stan Lee was ripping off Gort from The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is why, to me, Cyclops has to have his hair covered, so he looks more and more like Gort. And when Gort shot that I-beam, Stan Lee was like, that's my next character. You're right. Rob Liefeld was a genius at a very take it that way. There you go. He breaks the rules. Now, I'm trying to think of a hero that breaks the rules, but is still a great character. And it's but I can't think of anybody. For me, any hero with too many guns is not a hero. For a superhero, yes. But like you could be a Western hero, with cowboy hero with guns. But we're talking about superheroes, so yes, I agree. I agree with you. Like to me, the Punisher is a flawlessly designed character. That name, the Punisher, he's all black. The fact that he has those white boots shouldn't work, but it does. And the white gloves. I love the white gloves and white boots. Oh man, But to me, I just thought it's black and white, literally black and white. There's good and there's evil. I'm uncompromising. There you go. I just rationalized it to make sense. And then he has that skull. You know what he's all about. And then he's got guns. You know what I mean? Now, people could argue, is he a superhero? Is he about? No, he's the definite anti-hero. He's the poster child for anti-hero. But it's just a classic design. You remind me of my babysitter making fun of my favorite TV show, Chips. Sorry, is that good or bad? I hope you like your babysitter. My character's named Captain Courage, Johnny Halo, and Kitty Nova. Are your characters superheroes, or are they like space heroes? Like sci-fi. Like Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, because those are slightly different. And they're slightly different rules. But I love the name Kitty Nova. I have in my role-playing games a superhero called Susie Nova. That I haven't read your comic yet, so I don't know how much they're like, but I think they would be different because Susie Nova is a Supergirl type. She even has a cape and can fly and everything like that. I don't want to say more about her. Oh yeah, so yeah, those follow different rules, and to me, the only rule for those type of characters is, does the name sound cool? Does the name sound cool? Because they're not different identities. You know what I mean? Like, I imagine Johnny Halo, that's his real name. Is Kitty Nova, is that her real name? Captain Courage, what is his name? Captain Frank Courage. Those are their real names. So, and they're sci-fi here. Whereas Cable, in the future, he's like a sci-fi hero, and in the past, he's X-Men. But I don't know. I just don't dig him. What about Bishop, Blink, or Maggot? Bishop is another one. Okay. What how does that focus the character? So Bishop comes from the future and he absorbs energy, and when he absorbs the energy, he makes himself strong, which is a phenomenal power. Oh my god, if you're in my role-playing game and you get that power, you are super powerful power. Such a good power. And then he uses a gun. Why does he use a gun? He's on Superman level, if you get, you know what I mean? And then, okay, so what is a bishop? Okay, this is a chess piece bishop that moves angular and take you out from across the board, or there's a priest named the bishop. What does the name have to do with who he is? What does he do? How does he what is it? Yeah, it's his last name, but he's on a superhero team, Flash Gordon doesn't join the Avengers. Blink, perfect. Blink is perfect. She blinks, bing, bing, bing. She teleports around. I think Blink is a perfect name. Perfect name. It's short, quick. Like she doesn't do like that Nightcrawler Bamf. She doesn't open up portals. She just. I think it's cool. Maggot. Maggot's horrible. It's a great name. It's a great name. If what does a maggot do? A maggot. If I was to design somebody named Maggot, which I may or may not have, I've wondered. I think I might have a character. Maggot would be a low charisma, like nerdy, toady kind of yes master kind of character, and then Maggot would literally feed on the dead. So Maggot would be like some sort of like evil lich like overlord. Would call it Maggot, and a Maggot would like eat the corpses that the vampires left over. That's what Maggot. That's the character Maggot that I would do. The name Maggot, psychologically, when you're calling somebody a maggot, they're lowest of the lowest of the low. You don't care about them, and they literally eat leftovers and rotting stuff. So that's what I would do. Maggot the X-Men. She summons maggots or something like that. So stupid. Kitty Nova is in that first story I added for the okay. All right. His real name is Jason Courage. That is a sci-fi character name, Jason Courage. Of the SS ass kicker. I have a concept for a superhero called Tiger Shade, who has white skin but black tiger stripes, carries an ancient Chinese sword to harness the power of the white tiger star. Okay. Tiger Shade. Cool. I like Shade as in spirit. Okay. Isn't Bishop his last name? Yeah. That's just so lazy. Strong guy. Why can't I think of his name? It's like some real like Vito Carlucci or something like that, like some real Italian name. Yeah, strong guy. It's kind of goofy, but it fits my rules. He's a strong guy. And what does he do? He can increase his mass and density. That works, but he's a super strong superhero, and doesn't he like he increases his density and he gets like dumber or something like that? It works. It's not the best name. I wouldn't have a guy named Strong Guy, but it fits the rules. The name focuses the character. How does Bishop focus? If I was to get 10 people together who never heard of the character Bishop, they wouldn't design that character. Cable. If I put 10 people who never heard of Cable, they would not design that character. It's just such a misname. Did I help with the rules? All right. Anybody want to say anything else before I call it quits? Because at 8:30, we're going to be here for a comic book team up with RJ from the Fourth Age. We're going to have RJ Williams here. So it's 2 RJs to 1 non-RJ. So I'm going to be outnumbered, defenseless, powerless. And I'm just seeing if I skipped any did I make myself clear? Hey, Tony Grigo, how you doing? How's everything out there? Go to the Frontier Diner. Get yourself a Frontier burrito. By the way, Cable and Bishop are names for how perfect and overall vapid and terrible they each are. All right, so DC Miller agrees with me. How about we do an exercise? I'm going to try to come up with a name. I'm going to try to come up with a superhero name. And then we will, either, in the chat or something, just like tell me what you how you would design the character. All right. I'm going to, I have a list of hundreds of superhero names. Let's see if I remember my password. And I'm just going to pull one at random. So these are going to be superhero names that I have on a list that I did not use yet in my role-playing games or a story or anything like that. So I'm just going to get one at random. Oh, okay. Oh, these. Okay. Oh, wow. I got a lot. This one I don't want to use because somebody else already used it. All right. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. So, these these are good. I don't want to waste these. Okay. All right. Here's one. All right. So I'm going to stop the screen. So I got a name. Okay. This is a name on my list. I did not stat out this character. I didn't write a story or anything. It's just a name that I thought was cool for a character. Dollface. Okay. Dollface. I'll just write it in the chat. Dollface. So everybody, as far as I know, there's not a character named Dollface in existence. So how would you guys design Dollface? What would you do? All right. Who's better, the circle jerks or the germs? I like the germs better. I like the germs better. I like them both. You're asking me what's better, chocolate or vanilla? They're both amazing, but I like the germs better. The Descendants, I'm real tired of the Descendants because why doesn't that girl like me? Why doesn't that girl like me? You know, back when I was 17 years old and couldn't get a girl, I was like, oh, they're just like me. But now I'm like, no wonder girls didn't like you. All you did was whine. All you did was whine. Girls don't like whiny guys. Mask character. Dollface was sent to the future after almost dying as a baby. I thought you were going to turn her into Cable. Dollface came from the future. She has a big gun, robot arm. Anybody? Anybody for Dollface? We got 5 more minutes. A psychopath killer woman. Okay. What powers does she have? What is her costume? You know, these are okay. You know, we're working towards it. A supermodel who's deformed or thinks she's deformed, fighting crime behind a doll mask. So the trick is what? She's not. She's actually beautiful. What does she have? Like a pimple or a little scar or something like that? These are all great. These are all great. And I don't know. I just wrote the name down. This list is like 18 years old of names that I've just been accumulating and accumulating and accumulating. And a lot of them were really good. So, all right. So I'm going to close this down. How about you? How will we do? Either in the comments. Okay, we got one more comment. I'm a sucker whenever comment. I'm thinking of a female character with eternal youth, long life, precog, whereas 1980s girls' long dresses drains energy to stay young. That is interesting. That is pretty unique. That is, out of all the concepts that I have in my head, I did not think anything like that. I kind of like that. That's like, you know, I hate saying this, but it popped into my head. That's outside the box. My concept for Dollface was almost like a golem, like some wizard or something like that, like animated a porcelain doll, you know, and this evil spirit is in this porcelain doll, so she's like literally fragile, you know. And then I was thinking, what other that she was like a Dollface was a beautiful girl, like almost like a Harley Quinn to another villain. All these Dollfaces are bad. I was actually going to have Dollface be in Heroic Tales #1 as the the girl to Boss Moxie, and she was just going to be like, do you know Bernadette Peters? She's going to have the blonde hair and everything like that, and perfect makeup, and just be his second in command. You know what I mean? The girl Mal, and I don't know why I changed it. I think that would have been better, but I think I don't know why I changed it. I changed a lot from the first draft of the script to what's actually on the page. But those were my two, like the original, the supernatural, pretty much like a little animated golem, and then like a porcelain doll turned alive, you know, and she's like almost like Poindexter from Bugs Bunny, like she smokes cigars, and then when people are around, she acts like, "Oh, I love you, I'm talking Tina." But again, I never fleshed her out. There's a lot of names, but you see the name Dollface. It's focusing all of these cool things. But anyway, I'm going to shut it down now because at 8:30 I got comic book team up with RJ from the Fourth Age and RJ Williams. We're going to be here on the same channel. Tony nailed it. So you like Tony? Yep. So you guys had the name Dollface and you think a superhero. I think Dollface and I think criminal, but they both work. They both work. So I don't know. Did I explain my rules for superhero? The name is the focus, and then the costume has to support the name, and the powers have to support the costume. They all have to be in support. And then in the middle of that triangle, I try to have a symbol. I'm real big on a superhero symbol. I don't always successfully come up with a good, like Blockade. I didn't really think, but like maybe a guy like Blockade doesn't need a symbol, you know. You should make a character after RJ. Maybe I already did. All right, I'm going to shut this down now, and I will. I think this subject of my rules for superheroes would probably be better if I wrote it up, and maybe I'll put it in like an editorial in a future issue of Heroic Tales. I think this is something that, you know, instead of stream of consciousness thought, like an actual thought out, well-written essay. All right. So I'm going to close down, be back here in 15 minutes for comic book team up. All right. Bye-bye.